Beast, and I am going to be ranking every single Hallmark movie that was a Countdown to Christmas movie or a Miracles of Christmas movie this year. That's right, I watched all of them except for the one that comes out today, and I have opinions about them all, which ones I thought were the height of creativity and fun, and which ones I thought were a little bit blasé. Hopefully you enjoy seeing me look at this stuff. And here's sort of a preview of what I looked at.
Merry Christmas. Let's make it one for the history books.
You two have a good night.
Okay, oh, that had the s'mores. I haven't seen the s'mores in a while. But we definitely have all of the kisses, the near misses.
He's about to kiss me, and it is going to be a top-shelf kiss.
Was it? I don't remember. We'll talk about that. There are some that I just do not remember. But okay, we're all season long, and I watched all season starting back in October. You know it starts earlier and earlier and earlier every year.
I have it in good authority.
Here's the other one. This is Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
Believe in miracles.
That's Felicia Rashad.
Holiday movies all day, every day, and all new premieres.
These ones are a little more
every
form
Thursday
breaking,
night.
but they also have their own form. We'll talk about that too.
To love.
To love.
And happy tears. To family.
Wherever you find them.
Miracles of Christmas. Holiday movies all season long. Only on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries.
Okay, so with that said, let's get right into it because I have a list of sort of all of these movies, and I have opinion about every single one that I have seen. So I want to start with sort of a top tier one right away. So hopefully I can find it. There's one that was called Biltmore Christmas. That's a sort of a Star Trek reference because it had Robert Picardo in it, as well as having Jonathan Frakes. So that one is going to be my S tier one when I can find it here. I know I had the picture for it. Either way, that's going to be a top tier one. The Biltmore Christmas. We'll find it. Checking It Twice was okay. That one was about a hockey player. That was like a really, really early one. It was all right. A hockey player moves into a cottage in the backyard. That one, it's a little bit formula. I can see why it was like at the start of the season. It was fine. It was more of a fall into winter one, so I'll give that a C because it's fine. It didn't have anything like too ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, though, we definitely had the one that was called Catch Me If You Claus. The Catch Me If You Claus one, that was a person who is the new Santa Claus, the son of Santa Claus, taking over. And I had some funny jokes in it, but once again, it really, really felt formula. Who is this stranger? What are they doing? I'm Santa Claus. No, you're not. Oh, he's really Santa Claus. Magic exists, and it ends with a kiss. So that's not like a height of a great one, but it's definitely an interesting one for sure. However, if we look at some others, we've got some like really, really interesting things. Which one is this? That's the bubble. Hold on, I gotta figure out which one that is before I figure out exactly where I put it. So that one is a Heidelberg Holiday. Okay, so yeah, this one I can't really remember much about it. No, you know what? It was fine. It was right in the middle. It was all about this lady that makes glass-blown ornaments, and she takes her ornaments to Heidelberg in Germany, and she connects with a woodsman who made art, and he's frustrated about how he has to make like functional objects rather than art. And at the end, of course, her big important ornaments all get destroyed, and so they combine their two art forms, the two people becoming one. It was pretty obvious. It was pretty telegraphed all the way through. So that one's really, really just formula. It's right in the middle. It's just fine. The concept was okay. It just wasn't really at the heights of some that I'm going to be talking about. Like the Biltmore one, which I really do want to talk about in great detail, because that absolute Biltmore one is, if you're a lover of like old screwball comedies, and if you love like backstory Hollywood drama, and if you specifically loved um, It's a Wonderful Life. It's basically a play on It's a Wonderful Life, but written by somebody that has a great and adoring and endearing love of screwball comedy. Besides the Star Trek connection, right, it's a time travel one, and there were a couple of time travel ones this year, probably due to the success of The Way Home, that Andy McDowell TV show on Hallmark that's a time travel through a pond show. I'm really interested in the way that Hallmark has been sort of breaking their form. Now that their form is so established, people think they know what Hallmark is. If you actually watch Hallmark, if you actually watch what their channel has, it's much more surprising. And though they've dialed back elements of it, it's really a little bit more progressive than people think. Every year we see that meme about capitalism breeding innovation. We see that meme about how all of the heroines in Hallmark are the same. Well, that's pretty much true. They're the same people. You can swap them out, but at least we've been progressing more and more and more towards more inclusivity of the different types of people that exist in the world. A good example of this is going to be Friends and Family Christmas, which I just have to figure out which one it is here. It has a pretty banal looking title. Most of them do. Like, some of them are pretty good. Anyways, Friends and Family Christmas is going to be the one with two women, and the criticism of this one, it's a really reasonable criticism, is that it's pretty much just formula, but all that they've done is that they've swapped out one of the usual male characters for a female character, and I think we can do a little bit better than that, but I think overall, I put it in A, but I think it's really sort of more of a B level one. I think we can do better. I think we've seen better. Lifetime had Under the Christmas Trees in 2019 that was a little more realistic to the kinds of people that exist, and it wasn't just scratching out character male in the script and just writing in female. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with that, just that I don't think that this one went deeply enough into just sort of the lives that these characters really would have been living. Though it was fun to see how the families adopted and reacted to each other, and as a fan of even anime that's like cute girls doing things, this was right up my alley. But when I think about it, I think that it could have pushed for a little bit more. It could have broken the mold a little bit more, which some of the other ones that I'm going to be talking about definitely do. So that's why I'm giving that a B. So Biltmore Christmas is S. Catch Me If You Claws, Friends and Family Christmas, those are all going to be B's. Let me see if I can no crop the images. That'll make it a little bit easier for you to sort of see what we're going with here. And where else can we go? So there's some that I just can't remember. Like, there was nothing that really held my attention for it. I know I saw it, but I can't remember anything. And one of those can't remember is going to be Christmas Island. Christmas Island is one that I don't know what happened. I think it hit all of the beats that you want. There was a meet cute, then there's some tension, then they do some Christmas activities, then there is a slight misunderstanding, though that slight misunderstanding thing, that thing that we think happens in a lot of these movies, has started to not happen as much, or people started to like learn to talk to each other first, because that trope has always kind of annoyed me, that don't talk to each other. Don't say, oh, I'm having difficulty talking, I'm having difficulty expressing myself. So we've been doing a better job, as if I'm part of this whole thing, we've been doing a much better job at letting the characters have real reasons for the breakup, because I saw someone and that person was smiling at the person that I have a crush on, is one of the weakest story beats ever. And for that reason, by the way, having just finished it this morning, The Secret Gifts of Christmas, has a setup that isn't paid off, it isn't earned, it's a little awkward, where there is a singing teacher, and then there's the personal shopper, and the personal shopper misunderstands the interest of the teacher, and the teacher really does have an interest, and I just don't think that the needle was threaded well enough to be anything new. However, if we want to talk about something that is still the trope, but done new, I really thought that Holiday Road was one of the absolute best that I've seen this season. I don't think it really got to S tier, but it is A tier because it's based on a real incident. It's based on people sharing a car, a van, in order to get home. And it definitely has the enemies to lovers thing, where slowly you realize the respect that these people have for each other. You realize that the defenses, the walls that people put up, when you break them down and we can connect with each other, that is the holiday magic, so to speak. The only real issue I have with that is it's called Holiday Road, which is the theme song from Vacation, and there's not even a reference to National Lampoon's Vacation in it. So that one's an A. Also, in my A tier is going to be the Hanukkah one. There's like a check mark of the holidays that I imagine there's a maybe not even completely appropriate meeting that they have at Hallmark every year that says, okay, we got to get these holidays, we got to get these representations, we got to have our one Hanukkah movie, sometimes two, or sometimes a movie where there's Christmas and Hanukkah. This year it was Round and Round, which is Groundhog Day. It's so Groundhog Day that the characters immediately call out Groundhog Day, even though the female lead character starts by trying to explain Palm Springs. I'm putting this in the A tier because it has references to Dungeons and Dragons. Specifically, the male lead says some very awkward chick tract-like stuff about how he has dice that his grandmother gave him, and she is a 20th level archdruid. It's like someone read someone making fun of how people play D&D and thought, oh, that's what D&D is. So it was awkward, but it was interesting the way that they tried to bring that in. And this is not the only one that had a reference to stuff like that. There's definitely one this year that was all about three women, and these three women needed to find their holiday romance, and that one is also actually going to be an A tier. It doesn't really get to the S tier, but the Santa Summit definitely has a character that is a Lord of the Rings fan. And what knocks it down just from the S tier is that when the character is talking about Lord of the Rings with her match, her perfect one kiss means forever match, she quotes Aragorn's love story, and everybody knows, especially people of a certain age, that the love story, to quote, is, well, it's not Aragorn's love story, it's Sam and Frodo's love story. That's the one that everybody of about my age and of the character's age would be quoting, specifically Sam and Frodo talking to each other as they're carrying the massive weight of expectations and the ring on them. Probably these people would in a more realistic movie rather than this idealized version that focuses, in my opinion, on the wrong romance between characters in Lord of the Rings. We would have, let's say, how do I want to say it? We would probably be texting memes to each other, specifically Nate Stevenson artwork of Sam and Frodo, for example. However, cute execution, it's set during a Santa con, and of course there is a mistaken identity, a misidentity, a Santa meet cute that then they keep missing each other at these same parties as they're going on a Santa pub crawl. So I guess another great thing about this one is it definitely is a pro-drinking Hallmark movie, which is not really surprising. People only think it's surprising. After all, Hallmark has their own set of wines. Okay, what else can we go through? Let me get through a couple that are sort of B tier. Joyeux Noël is about sort of a woman who goes to a specific holiday on market in France in order to write for her newspaper one of these heartwarming holiday stories. And she meets a person and they fall in love, sort of by the numbers, but at least the character wasn't just perfect at everything. She was actually like quite annoying, and because she was annoying, annoying's not right, she was pushy. She was pushy in order to get what she wanted, and so often that's a thing that comes off as brash even when it doesn't mean to be. And these are some of my favorite people in the world after I get to know them. It's one of those things where my old great mentor teacher, Mike O'Malley, used to say, I don't remember who he was quoting, he used to say that we hate in others what we fear most in ourselves. The pushiness, the abrasiveness is something. So having a character like that was actually really, really good to connect to. It's just that the overall story was sort of by the numbers. Okay, we've got so many more to get through because there were so many, many, many of these. Okay, Hometown Holiday or Norwegian Holiday. Norwegian Holiday, I can't remember it. I sat through it, I watched it. I know that they went to Norway. I know that there was a kiss at the end. I know that they had fun together. I know that it didn't necessarily have like a lot of tension, but I really can't remember it. It didn't stick out at all. And I hate to say it, but some of these others were also I can't remember what happened in them. Not the case for Miracle in Bethlehem, PA, because that isn't out yet. That it comes out later today, so I'll be watching that to finish up my watching for the year. Flipping for Christmas was another one that by hearing the name, you know exactly what's going to happen. Two people are working on flipping a house together, and then they fall in love and they move into the house. They didn't really have anything that was really, really like super interesting, super like trying to like draw you in. I appreciate for sure the effort in this one. It just doesn't reach the heights of some of these others to me. For example, for high concept, I would have to give Where Are You Christmas an A. It's just the execution was a little rushed at the end, but the idea of everything going into black and white when they missed the idea of Christmas, I thought that was a really interesting conceit. I just think that the choices of who got Christmas back and was able to remember the existence of Christmas was a little telegraphed to begin with, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But after being so telegraphed, what we really want, what we really expect is a subversion of the tropes. We do want these tropes. We do want these beats to be hit in the way that we know they're going to be hit, but we want a little subversion. And that's what really sort of raises one above the B or C level to the A and the S level, is that there's some kind of subversion or some kind of thing where the trope is played with. It's made new, to borrow the Ezra Pound phrase. That's why A Biltmore Christmas was so great, is because it was a movie that said, hey, do you like It's a Wonderful Life? Do you like old screwball comedies? What if we made a modern screwball comedy that was time travel, where you could imagine that Robert Picardo is just playing the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager, and there's this great shot at the end where Jonathan Frakes puts this piece, this clock, this hourglass that causes all of the magic to happen away in a box, and even though he doesn't say anything, you can hear, just because it is Jonathan Frakes, him asking if you believe it. It's definitely a beyond belief, and just the way, the gravitas, the gravel of his voice just reminds at least me of hours and hours and hours spent watching Beyond the Belief, and of course watching The Next Generation. Okay, so let's get through a couple more. Hopefully we got more. Holiday Hotline. Actually, this one was really, really kind of cute. It's a person that is trying, it's actually like a B, it's not quite an A, because it is a little too formula. It is a person that is trying to not connect with the holidays, that is just trying to be alone, and of course, the more they're alone, the more they actually fall in love with the person that they're talking to. They take a job helping people organize and cook on the phone, and of course, they start talking to this one person who they don't know who it is on the phone, and that's the person that throughout the movie they're having a bunch of meet cutes or hate cutes. So Holiday Hotline is in the genre of movie that we call Little Shop Around the Corner. It's Sleepless in Seattle. It's You've Got Mail. It's a classic setup. Two people bump into each other, but they communicate in another way. And when they communicate their true souls, then they realize that they're in love. And of course, that will lead to at least a little bit more of a reason for them to get mad at each other and go away. Oh, you're not who I thought you were. Oh, you're not who I thought you were. Actually, what if we see that we are these two different people all at once? It's a combination of what it means to be a human, to be that master of two worlds, if we're going to follow the hero's journey. Though we should probably follow the heroine's journey, which says there's a rejection of that, because the idea of the master of two worlds is to have dominance over the world, and that is not really the kind of story we should be telling. We should be telling stories about understanding the darkness within us and coming back and saying, here's how we can help and work together to get through our darkness, which, by the way, is one of the reasons that I love these Hallmark movies so much. They are about how we find community and connection and love in a time of darkness. Okay, what else do we have? Everything Christmas. What was Everything Christmas about? Some of them I don't remember at all. Everything Christmas. I saw this one like really. Okay. This one was about a road trip, and actually this was a really fun one because things keep going wrong. They meet the guy who could secretly be Santa, and sort of it's just all about the road trip experience, being dragged along into a friend, not thinking you're going to have fun, and finding fun and love and the light of Christmas along the way. It gets a little too rushed in the back half and the third act, but this particular movie, this particular one really does do the road trip formula well, because even though there are the side love stories, it's really about the love between two friends, and I really like it when Hallmark says, yes, we are going to have the love story, but we are going to have something more than the love story, or it's not going to be the love story you expect. Yes, it's nice that the cute people are kissing and all, but look at how these two people are really friends with each other. It's why the Christmas and Evergreen series is such a good one, and why I still say Halloween and Evergreen. Make that series. Make an Evergreen series. Bring back Ashley Williams to play her character and show us what the everyday life of that town is. You would get so many people that would be so excited about that one, and you could put that red truck in everything. Okay. Now, there are some sort of tropey ones, too, that I want to talk about. A Scottish Christmas is a person learns, their family learns that they are secretly Scottish lairds. It's not like the people that buy the estate on Scotland. They learn that they're actually Scottish royalty. And, of course, the main woman falls in love with the non-noble Scottish person who actually knows everything about her family history. It's boilerplate, really. It's absolutely fine. It is pleasant, great scenery, beautiful people doing cute things, but it doesn't move beyond everything that you expect, which is why I'm putting that in the C tier. Okay, so also in the C tier, though at least it was trying something new, is Christmas in Notting Hill, footballer plus an American, and I can't really remember much more than that. There is a drag show in it, so I love that Hallmark is embracing more elements of the wider culture and all of the traditions of the world and saying, yes, these are actually all things that should be supported, that are normal, that are worth celebrating. This love is love moment. It's just too bad that so much of it comes in the middle of movies that don't rise beyond these sort of scenes. Speaking of movies that don't really rise beyond anything, here some more that I don't really remember are going to be the Christmas on Cherry Tree Lane. It's not really Can't Remember. I do know that Josh from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend makes an appearance in it in a gay couple, and it's fine. But the movie itself is just a bunch of neurotic people acting neurotically about Christmas without ever actually communicating with each other. They would just sit down and talk to each other. It would have been fine. It annoyed me the entire time, despite very good performances. Similarly, the idea of two sisters both interested in one person, it's an okay setup, but I don't think the execution was all that interesting, especially given some of the other greater ideas that we've had this year. So Never Been Christ, cute name, okay setup. The execution I guess it just wasn't for me. So in literally that same mold is going to be Haul Out the Holly Lit Up, where a family of influencers moves into town. It's a sequel. Hallmark loves to do sequels of their movies, and everything about all of these people just annoys me. They live in an HOA. The whole thing is about oh no, they have or haven't put up Christmas decorations. They're not coming to our party. We're trying to be a neighborhood here. We have rules. If you want to be a neighborhood, you cannot enforce rules upon people. You cannot say this is how you have to act. The idea of an HOA is something cute. Really, really, really annoys me. So that's down in the D tier as well. My Christmas Guide, that was the one with a blind English teacher, his cute daughter, and a guide dog trainer. It was formula. It was touchy-feely. It was definitely in the genre, I would say, where it's usually put on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries rather than Hallmark Channel. It's the genre where they say, here's a person with a disability and here's how they get through the world. It's meant to be super, super supportive. And these ones are always like a little bit awkward. I'm never sure how I'm supposed to feel because it really tries to walk like a very tight line of what is acceptable and what isn't, because you don't want to essentialize a person or their disability. But also these are often used as part of the prop or part of the thing that propels the plot, and sometimes in like very, very awkward ways. For that very reason, I have a very hard time figuring out where I would put a world record Christmas with the main action being an autistic child trying to win a world record. And it was nerve-wracking watching the scene where he knocks over the tower of the things that he's going to build because the one thing that he wanted, the one thing that he wishes for is for his father to show up. And because his father isn't there, the expectation, the mental map he's made in his head is not working out. I think it was well acted. I definitely felt the tense emotions, but I'm not sure how I should feel about this kind of movie. I'd rather that big swings like this are taken, for sure. I just don't know if these executions of these kinds of movies are really, really good. Okay, here's another one that I just couldn't get through. I'm sure I have it somewhere. There was one that I was trying to watch, and on the service I watch, it sort of timed out for me. And so that one will be... Oh boy. Yes, that one will be Christmas with a Kiss. I didn't get far enough into that in order to remember it, and I didn't finish it. And unfortunately, I had the same problem that I had with Friends and Family Christmas, where they took the normal Hallmark formula and they just changed one thing about the people, but they didn't actually change it enough, I thought, culturally. It's not right. Oh boy, I'm really stepping in it here. They didn't change enough to really about the people that it's supposed to be about, I thought. And so when I wasn't able to finish watching it, I just put that in my did not finish pile. Okay, that's a lot so far, but there's still many, many more to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Boy, and look at how many we have so far. So once again, the only S tier I've come to is really the Biltmore Christmas, though Holiday Road, Round and Round, Santa Summit, and Everything Christmas were up there, and I wouldn't snooze on the B tier either. I would just maybe give the C tier a watch if it's on, but a skip, and then anything under that, they just weren't for me. Maybe you'll find that there's something really, really good in there. I thought that there were problems with all of these movies. Speaking of that, let's talk about Magic and Mistletoe. These are actors I like. These are writers I like. However, this one was just so absolutely formula. I couldn't get into it. Grumpy writer says, "Oh, I hate Christmas," and then he goes back to his hometown, and in his hometown, he's written everything Christmas. He's written like a classic Christmas book and a Christmas series, and it's all about his hometown. He's like, "I hate Christmas. It's super commercial." And the point that comes across at the end is actually he shouldn't hate Christmas. He shouldn't hate how commercial it is, instead of really reconnecting with the town. Yeah, the idea is look at all these traditions, right? but then they do the thing where you float the lights and the lanterns, and I always worry about that stuff because who cleans that up when those things come down? And I just didn't buy that he had a change of heart, and I didn't buy that there was a reason he should have a change of heart. I think he should have said to the town, hey, I will come back to this town. I love this town. I love what it meant. But if we're going to do this right, everything has to be free and open to people, and we have to use money to help the community rather than it being about him rehabilitating his image. Beat by beat, it's fine. It follows like a structure that it's fine. It just doesn't really get to a point that it tries to set up. And I don't think it knows what point it's trying to set up, because after all, Hallmark, like any big channel, like any big corporation, is a corporation. So they can't actually criticize capitalism or consumerism, because then we wouldn't buy branded Hallmark t-shirts, and we wouldn't buy branded wine, and we wouldn't buy the cards that have launched a media empire. So that one for me, I could leave it. Similarly, Letters to Santa was fine, but pretty much forgettable. In Letters to Santa, it's all about people just writing letters back and forth. In fact, if I think about it, I really can't remember what happened in that one. The Season for Family, that one I would also put in the D tier, and the reason that I would put that in specifically the D tier is that it's another one of these Hallmark Movies and Mysteries ones rather than the Hallmark Channel one, and they love to pull this secret adoption, but they meet each other, and this time they did it with twins who were separated at birth, and now the two different people that adopted them are meeting up, and one set of the family doesn't want to tell the other set, even though they know all along. And I just find that really, really mean, since the kids are getting to be friends. Like, I can understand being concerned about the emotional impact, but shouldn't you tell the truth to people? So I don't think that one really, really worked out very well. But one that did work out, it's not quite A tier or S tier, but is really, really fun, is Sealed with a List. I think that's what it's called, Sealed with a List. And that one I watched like really recently, so it's fresh in my mind. That one has the jerk guy who takes the job of the girl, but rather than her actually getting like really, really mad about it, I mean she's livid, but rather than letting that be her like experience, she says, oh, actually, my big list of things I need to do to improve my life includes quitting my job and going into business for myself, being my own person. And so it's about them connecting as she learns to experience joy. And I like it because the protagonist is active. She immediately, when he comes to apologize and say, hey, you shouldn't have taken the fall for this mess up that I had at my job, she says, okay, take me clubbing. And they form a real friendship from there. And you see like a really good friends to lovers progression. So that one, even though it's pretty much by the numbers, it's we're going to do some Christmas activities. Oh, here's a list. Oh, I need to push myself to be more authentic, to be more truthful to who I am. I thought this did the formula really, really well. But it doesn't rise above the formula, which is why it's not an A tier, and I put it in the B tier. Okay, so what else? Mystery on Mistletoe Lane. That's an okay one. It's this Formula One. They do one like this sort of every year on Movies and Mysteries. It's a treasure hunt about Christmas, and someone left it behind so that you can recapture the magic of Christmas that existed in the past. Usually it's someone that is dead, as it is here. And of course, we have the added complication of a grumpy father that wanted to kind of hide it. And then it's just everybody getting together and trying to solve a mystery together. And eventually you figure out the most obvious thing is that it's the male lead's grandfather, actually, due to like tragedy in the backstory, has put together a, hey, remember when we all had these Christmases together? We loved these particular things before the tragedy happened. The difference between like the Hallmark Channel And the movies and mysteries seems to be the movies and mysteries is definitely going to go to the downer stuff. It's definitely where you're going to get the much more religious stuff. And while Hallmark will have that stuff, it will also opt for the much lighter stuff. It'll also go for the goofier stuff recently, which is actually fantastic. The way that it'll say, you know what we really, really love is screwball comedies, a Biltmore Christmas. You know what would be really, really good is if we did Groundhog Day, but Hanukkah over 8 nights, so you repeat it 8 times. What if we said it during a SantaCon and it's about people trying to find their true love? Of course, they were all teachers, and they had that beautiful, beautiful Hallmark teacher job where you teach for half of the day and then you just dismiss the kids if you want. I know a lot of teachers that would love to be able to just dismiss kids whenever they want. I think that would help things a lot, even though, it might cause problems. Okay, what else we got? Mystic Christmas. Mystic Christmas is about a person that is an expert at wildlife biology, and she comes to help rehabilitate a seal. And I can't remember much more than that because it's pretty much just formula. It's pretty much just, I've come to this small town. I'm learning about this small town. Oh, I found a person I like here. I can't remember if she just goes off at the end or not. But basically, it was all formula. The only interesting thing is it had an animal in it. On a better note, though, the Heaven Down Here, I'm going to put in the B tier. If you ever saw that John Green Netflix movie, it's basically that, but with the Hallmark movies and mysteries secret adoption storyline. Everybody in these movies is all secretly related to each other or long lost love being reunited and so on. It has some pretty good jokes in it, and the emotional core is really good, and it's got Felicia Rashad as the grandmother, and once again we have a dead mother trope in here as well. It's worth a watch. It's not the height of what we've seen this season, but it's definitely one of the better leaning ones. Okay, boy, we're still got a ways to go. Navigating Christmas. I don't remember a single thing about that. That doesn't mean it was good or bad. It means that it was either so formula it's blend into others, or there's nothing that stood out. So that may be good, that may be bad. I literally can't know anymore. Okay, where else? What else do we have to talk about? Okay, royalty. We're not seeing as much royal songs, movies as we saw before, like 2020, 2021, around the royal wedding, of course. We had so many royalty movies, and then people kind of got over that. However, there is some good stuff in a not-so-royal Christmas. It's not as good as if you would just watch The Mouse That Roared, for example, but I love a good fake kingdom that speaks English for no discernible reason. And the twist here is that the person is faking being the royal who the person falls in love with, because the actual royal decided to fall in love with a regular person and abdicate the throne. So once again, we're pulling from reality. We're pulling from what's actually happening in the world. And the thing that I don't buy there, which actually I think, now that I think about it, I got to put that in the C tier, is that you can't tell me that a culture that is so insular and says, yes, we have all of these Christmas traditions that we make sure we do every year, we have to do them. You can't tell me that people that live in a small country, even if they're royal, aren't going to celebrate the local traditions and the local people, and the fact that the non-royal has to bring that up, that just lacks believability. Still, the stars were good, the chemistry was there. It was interesting to see how he continually said, but what if we don't do noble stuff and do actually noble stuff like helping everybody? What if we made the exclusive party open to everybody? What if we took donations instead of tickets? That I thought was really, really interesting. However, was a little bit half and half on whether I thought like it was formula or moved beyond the formula. Okay, so We've got a couple more. And this next one is Under the Christmas Sky. This one's a cute one. This one's a B. It's about an astronaut that can't fly anymore, and she hooks up with a guy that is building a exhibit for children at a science museum. He says that he has absolutely no creativity. She's the one with creativity, which I like because it's a nice subversion. You'd expect that the science person would be the person that says, okay, we've got all the objective facts, but by reversing that, that's really good. This one also had some disability representation, not just her contrived can't fly anymore because her eyes are messed up, but his daughter being in a wheelchair. And the more I think about it now, the more that I speak about it, the more I think about it, I'm going to have to move this up to an A because their whole exhibit was, how do we tie in our understanding and science of the sun with Christmas? So they talk a lot about Saturnalia. They talk a lot about ancient pagan rituals, which is excellent to see in a Hallmark movie. So Happy Solstice, that one is actually an A because, one, it says science is great. We love science. People should do science. Two, it says scientific people are creative. The people that see these weird divisions or these people that think they're not creative, that's what stifles creativity. And it says, let's understand that the winter tradition is even more than just Christmas. What if Christmas was more than you could buy from a store, or whatever Dr. Seuss said? Okay, next one. Miss Christmas Comes to Town. Actually, I like this one. This was a cute one. This is another Movies and Mysteries. This one goes in the B tier. This is about a person that is a homemaker TV show person, a Martha Stewart type. And as a Martha Stewart type, she's moving on, and she wants to give the business to her sidekick, her attendant, who now has to go on and she has to learn how to become the new personality. I don't remember as much of the love story because it wasn't so focused on that. That was like a B or a C plot, but the idea of a person coming into themselves and learning how to authentically be their own person, their love of the season, their love of helping people, doing it their own way while taking over from a legacy, that one was fun. I think that's worth a rewatch, but again, it doesn't get up to the level of some of the fantastic ones we've seen this season. Okay, 3 left. To All a Good Night is weird. I don't know, it's kind of right on the line between B and C. I'm going to go with B because the setup is that the guy crashes his bike, and as the woman is saving him, she says, okay, what can I do for you so that you live? He says, promise you'll marry me, but they don't, and she knows who he is. He doesn't know who she is, at least for a little bit, so we've still got that shop around the corner kind of feel, but beyond that, he's a developer, but he is not trying to buy property in order to develop it for something awful, even though she misunderstands it that way because his company, the other people, are the villains. He's not. He's trying to create low-income housing for people. That one, he's literally just a good guy, a lonely guy that is trying to do something good for the world, and they have fun together. Basically each pretending they don't know who the other one is until the big reveal and the final kiss. That one was great. I had a lot of fun. Just as you can see, there's a lot of competition for what is even more. Okay. Christmas by Design. That one was pretty cookie cutter. It's exactly what you think it was, so I don't have much to say about that. That's got to be D tier. And this brings me to my final, which is, I don't know which one it is. Sometimes it's a little hard to see, but I'll make sure that you can download my final tier list. This one was Our Christmas Mural. Okay. This is a fine last one to end on. And the truth is, usually B and C is where these movies hang out. They're often, they can push and have a good, great scene or like a great emotional scene. But usually these Hallmark movies sit around what I would say the B and C level, where they're fine, they follow the formula, and they have like one new twist. We're watching the same thing over and over and over again, and that's actually the point of it. It's supposed to be super comforting. Our Christmas Mural is that. It's macaroni and cheese. It's Moe's Clam Chowder from Newport, Oregon. You know what it's going to taste like, and that is the point. Our Christmas mural is a person has to make a Christmas mural for a town, and as she gets help from another artist in town, they fall in love. And that's literally what these movies are about. These movies are, they're about love, but the big thing is that it's not about love of just the people. It's that when love with people, finding the others, finding ourselves in others is how we can connect with our community and connect with others. And that is what the Christmas spirit, so to speak, is about. That's what the holiday spirit is about. So there you have it. This is actually pretty much the way that they end up every year. There are a couple of not very good movies, even though I'm sure that the wonderful people who work on them tried their absolute best and put in their best effort. Most of them hang out around that B and C, but every once in a while there's something that's just great. There's something that's just funny. A few years ago, it was watching Tyler Hines in a unicorn inflatable, for example, and this year it's Jonathan Frakes and Robert Picardo.